All right, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it today. We're gonna be talking about the Glynn Simmons story. I had saw this news outlet on Instagram the other day, and I had to talk about this shit with y'all because this shit is crazy. This shit is wild. Like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. This story right here, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. You already know who it is. This is Jada's Creed, aka Jon Belcher. My new single, Leaving Your Phone, is out now on all music streaming platforms. Moet is out now on all music streaming platforms. You know I gotta say that before we get into the topic at hand. You know I gotta give you my rollout. I gotta give you my promo. Money Don't Stutter is out now on all streaming platforms. Running Through Your Mind is out now on all music streaming platforms. Forever Blessed is out now on all music streaming platforms. But yo, we about to get into it, right? So we got this guy who just got exonerated, this African-American brother who did basically 50 years in prison for something he ain't even do. He did 50 years in prison for something he ain't even do. 50 years in prison. I want you to imagine that for a second. 50 years in prison for something he ain't even do. So he goes by the name of Glynn Ray Simmons. My heart goes out to this man. My heart goes out to his peoples. He went into jail at just 22 years old. I'm going to read his Wikipedia real quick, and I'm going to show you his picture. You know, this is his picture right here, so you can see what I'm reading off of. I would be showing my screen if I was recording this video on a computer, but that will be at a later time when I get my computer situation situated. You feel me? But yeah, we're going to read his Wikipedia real quick and pay some respects to this man for serving 5 decades for something he ain't even do. Once again, the justice system has failed us once again. Glynn Ray Simmons, this is according to Wikipedia, is an American man who was wrongfully convicted in the U.S. state of Oklahoma in 1975 of the 1974 murder of Carolyn Sue Rogers. After having been exonerated, he was released from prison in 2023 at the age of 70 years old. He went in at 1975 and just got exonerated in 2023 at the age of 70. That's fucking crazy. After having been in prison for 48 years. So damn near, call that shit 50 years. That's a lifetime. His imprisonment after wrongful conviction is believed to be the longest in American history. Here's another picture of this brother. Here's another picture of him, now 70 years old. But you can never get that fucking time back. You can never get that time back. So his, like, I really want to know, like, what were the detectives, the police officers involved, the prosecutors involved? What the fuck was they doing at this time? Like, when they looked into this case, what the fuck was y'all doing? Like, what was y'all really trying to find the right person at all? Was y'all just trying to pin it on somebody? Like, what the fuck they be doing in situations like this where there's no evidence and you wrongfully convict a motherfucker basically for his entire life? Basically his entire life. This brother been in jail longer than he been out of jail for some shit he ain't even do. For some shit that he ain't even do. So this is the case that he was locked up for. This is why he was wrongfully convicted. This is the reason. On December 30th, and I'm reading it from Wikipedia right here. I'm reading it right from Wikipedia. This could be researched. On December 30th, 1974, 2 armed men robbed a liquor store in Edmond, Oklahoma. And as 30-year-old Carolyn Sue Rogers, a store clerk, picked up the telephone, one of the robbers shot her in the head and killed her. A customer, 18-year-old Belinda Brown, was also shot in the head. but survived. So, 2 robbers ran up into the store. One of them shot Carolyn, the store clerk, in the head. She died. And the other one, who was a customer, was 18. She got shot in the head as well, but she survived. During the investigation of this crime, police were also investigating a series of other similar robberies and a murder. On February 4th, 1975, the bodies of 2 men were found in a rural area near Oklahoma City. This is a separate situation. And on February 5th, Leonard Patterson was arrested and then confessed to the murders of the 2 men. Police learned that on January 19th, 1975, Leonard Patterson was at a party at the home of Dorothy Norris in Oklahoma City. So why did they bring that up? You want to know why is that important? Why is that an important detail? Because supposedly this dude, Leonard Patterson, right, who murdered 2 men and dumped their bodies in a rural area near Oklahoma City, this dude, Leonard Patterson, was at a party at the aunt of Glynn Simmons. So this guy who killed these 2 men was at Glynn Simmons' aunt's house at a party. So I guess that's how the fuck they made the connection that Glynn Simmons might have been connected to the murder of the store clerk in the robbery, which is a totally separate fucking case. A totally separate case. She was the aunt of 22-year-old. So Dorothy Norris was the aunt of 22-year-old Glynn Simmons, who had moved there from his home in Harvey, Louisiana to take a job. So that wasn't even where the fuck he really lived. He was only there to take a job. That was the only reason why he lived with his aunt. This dude, Glynn Simmons, who was wrongfully convicted, the only reason why he was at his aunt's crib was to take a job. That was the whole purpose. He ain't even really lived there for real. So imagine how crazy that is. The police began bringing in everyone they could find who had been at the party and putting them in lineups, including Simmons. Of course, Simmons was at the party of his aunt's crib because that's where he was living at the time. And also this murderer dude happened to be there as well. So they put Simmons in the lineup with this murderer dude. But the problem I have with this is the way these motherfuckers, these investigators, just group motherfuckers together and just be like, oh, you know, y'all all guilty. Like, no. Just because we went to the same party and a murderer happened to pull up at my fucking aunt's house for the party, that don't mean I'm the murderer. How do those two things correlate? Is there a possibility? Yeah, but before convicting somebody of murder, especially in this case, before convicting of somebody of murder, you have to do extensive due diligence. You have to properly gather evidence. You can't just fucking say, oh, I'm gonna pin it on somebody. I'm gonna just pin it on somebody because they're related or connected or associated with the person who did a whole nother crime. That's not how the justice system should work. So Belinda Brown, which was the one who got shot in the head but survived, identified Simmons and 21-year-old Don Roberts, who had also been at the party, as the robbers of the liquor store in Edmond. So the 18-year-old who got shot in the head and survived, she ended up pointing out these motherfuckers in the lineup, even though they wasn't the ones who committed the robbery. And if I have to guess, I would think that the people, the 2 men who did commit the robbery, probably had on face masks. They probably had on some type of disguise, maybe a hoodie closed up or something like that, maybe a mask. They probably had on maybe bandanas. So how the fuck you just gonna point out 2 motherfuckers that you're not 100% sure if they did the shooting? And on top of that, you got shot in the head. She got shot in the head. So she might have suffered some kind of brain damage. There's a good chance this lady who they had point out Don Roberts and Glynn Simmons in the lineup, there's a good chance she probably suffered some type of brain damage and probably barely remember who the fuck really shot her for real. Anyway, on February 8th, and this is the problem with the way that these investigations are conducted. It's like nuance matters. There are nuances and context matters. You gonna take, now granted, I'm not saying she deserved to get shot at all. That's fucked up. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to things, when it comes to serious things and serious accusations like these, you can't just randomly pick like a fucking lottery. You gotta know what the fuck you talking about. You gotta know who you pointing out in a lottery, in a lineup. Drop a comment below if you feel me, like when it comes to murders and situations like this where people are killed. Drop a comment below if you agree with me that the due process of law has to be carried out very carefully and evidence has to be gathered very carefully and effectively. Drop a comment below if you agree with that. That's what I would say. 300 to freedom. 300 to freedom, you already know what it is. On February 8th, 1975, following the lineups, police arrested Simmons and Roberts, and they were charged with capital murder. However, Simmons testified that on December 30th, 1974, he was in Harvey, Louisiana, and spent the day playing pool with friends. So he wasn't even in the fucking state of Oklahoma when this occurred. This dude, Glynn Simmons, that just got exonerated, he wasn't even in the state at the time when this murder occurred and this robbery occurred. His alibi was confirmed by four witnesses. Four people said that he was really in Harvey, Louisiana. My heart goes out to this brother right here, man. This is sad. Like, this is tragic. This is disgusting. This is evil. There's so many things I could say about this. No words can really explain the magnitude of how wrong this is. 48 years in prison for something you ain't even do. Something you ain't even do. And it happens all the time. This isn't like, we've seen this so many times. We've seen this movie before. Nevertheless, on June 5th, 1975, Simmons and Roberts were convicted of capital murder. In July 1975, they were both sentenced to death. However, since in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional, the Oklahoma Supreme Court decided in 1976 that all death penalty sentences prior to July 24th, 1976 should be commuted to life in prison without parole. So initially, they were supposed to get the death penalty. But what happened was there was a law passed, there was a constitutional change. So this is why that instead of them getting the death penalty, their sentence was reduced to life without parole. So he would have probably gotten killed. If it wasn't for that change in the Constitution, Glynn Simmons probably wouldn't even be here with us today for something he ain't even do. Now, my question is, how much motherfuckers is actually dead right now because of something they ain't even do? Because they was in jail and had to go through the death penalty for something they ain't even do. What do you say after they dead and gone? Oops. Well, that's what you say? Oops. As a justice system, that's what the fuck you say? Oops. We made a mistake. We made a boo-boo. Is that what you say? After somebody lost their life for some shit they ain't even do? Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better. And I understand at this time, technology was nowhere near as good as it is today. Gathering DNA evidence and all of that stuff was nowhere near as good as it is today. However, the way that this case, you could tell the way that this case was conducted was horrible. It was horrible. You could tell it was like evil ass people behind this shit. You could tell they just wanted to put this young brother in jail. You could tell. In 1995, Robert Mildfelt, the trial prosecutor, so this is about 20 years later after Glynn Simmons is already in jail. He done did 20 in that bitch. He wrote a letter to Simmons saying that the only witness, Brown, who identified him had wanted to think about the identification overnight. He wrote that Brown had described Simmons as more than 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds, which he mentions it's a physical description greatly different from Mr. Simmons' stature at the time. So the description was totally different from how Glynn Simmons actually looked. The description that was given was totally different. The jury on that day at that time found him guilty. However, quite candidly, it was one of the few cases I have been involved in that the verdict a week later could easily have been different. This is what the trial prosecutor, Robert Millfelt, said. On 2 occasions, Millfelt wrote letters to the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board supporting Simmons in his bid to be released on parole, but parole was repeatedly denied. They repeatedly denied my man's parole after he was already in jail for 20 years for something he didn't do. Once again, I wanna really drill that home, that point that he didn't even do this crime, because this case wasn't conducted and carried out lawfully at all. Simmons kept trying to prove his innocence, filing a motion for post-conviction relief that was denied in 1997. He filed the federal petition for a writ of habeas corpus in 1997, but it was also denied. So they kept denying my man's no matter how much times he put in for his innocence. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people in jail who do the same thing and try to appeal, even though they may have done the crime and they did do the crime. But with this man right here, when this type of situation happens, you have to go back to the way in which the case was carried out and the way in which the law was conducted. You can't just gloss over this and just be like, maybe he did it, maybe he didn't do it, let him stay in there. Nah, that's evil. That's fucked up. In January 2023, now this is 48 years later. 48 years later. 48 years later. Basically 25 years after he filed the federal petition. In January 2023, Simmons' attorneys Joseph Norwood and Jon Belcher, yeah, that's how his name's spelled, Belcher, filed an amended application for post-conviction relief, which cited the failure of the prosecution to disclose the police report. They didn't even disclose the police report. So you could tell there was evil all over this case. This is why my heart goes out to this man. There was evil all over this case from the beginning. From the beginning, they wasn't handling this case in the right way. From the beginning, they weren't being just. From the beginning, they were being evil. From the beginning, they were being negligent. From the very beginning. He filed an amended application for post-conviction relief, which cited the failure of the prosecution to disclose the police report, which said that Brown had initially identified other 2 men and noted in other 2 men, not Roberts and not Simmons, and noted that in fact Brown had identified 4 other individuals during the 8 lineup procedures. So this motherfucker ain't really know who the fuck he was choosing. And yet they following the word of these people who's picking out the supposed killers in these lineups. The motion also noted that in addition to the 4 witnesses who testified at the trial that Simmons was in Harvey, there were 2 other witnesses present who were to testify similarly, but they did not after Simmons' defense lawyer denied their testimony as cumulative. Why the fuck would he deny their testimony? I don't know. I don't know why his defense lawyer would deny their testimony. I think it's very important to have as many people as possible say you was at a different place if you really wasn't at the scene of the murder. If you wasn't at the scene of the murder, then how the fuck did you really do it? How is it possible for your body to be at 2 different places at one time? How is that even possible? How is it possible for you to be physically here and physically somewhere else at the same time? Remember, he had 4 eyewitnesses originally say that he was in Harvey, Louisiana, was not in Oklahoma at the time of the crime. And then it says here, there were 2 other witnesses present who were to testify similarly, but they didn't because Simmons' defense lawyer denied their testimony as cumulative. Why? See, like a lot of fishy business, a lot of fishy shit was going on with this case. It looked like they just wanted to pin it on somebody. It looked like they weren't really looking for justice. They were just looking to get this case closed, get their money, and get the fuck up out of there. And that's the problem. And that's what makes the justice system so evil. You got a whole bunch of motherfuckers in a room getting paid, getting money, getting cuts off of a man or a woman about to lose their freedom. The petition included affidavits from 5 more people who said that 5 more people now who said that they saw Simmons and Harvey at the time of the crime. So multiple people are saying that they seen him in a whole nother area, in a whole nother place at the time of the crime. Multiple people. There wasn't one story saying that, yes, we did indeed see him in Oklahoma at the time of when this crime occurred. Not one person. So how the fuck did y'all come to the conclusion that he was the suspect or he was to be convicted? We gotta do better. We gotta do better. But wait, here comes the kicker. The kicker ain't even come yet. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you feel what I'm kicking, if you feel what I'm talking about and how I'm shining light on this man's life and pouring my heart out to his situation, if you feel that, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to hit the bell button so you can be notified whenever I release new videos. Give me a thumbs up for this video if you rocking with me. 300 to freedom. Give me a thumbs up if you rocking with me. I appreciate you. Drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. Drop a comment below. So we moving along now. In April 2023, Oklahoma County District Attorney Vicky Behena, in April 2023, who had been the head of the Oklahoma Innocence Project before being elected as district attorney in 2022, filed a motion seeking to vacate Simmons' conviction. Thank you, Vicky Behena, but no thank you, because why the fuck it took so long for Vicky Behena to get in position to help this man out? It's like thank you, but no thank you at the same time, you know what I mean? Because it's now 2023. It's now a whole lifetime later. My man's done served 50 years in prison already. What the fuck are we doing? On July 20th, 2023, District Court Judge Amy Palumbo vacated Simmons' conviction and ordered a new trial. On July 22nd, 2023, Simmons was released on bond. Thank you, but no thank you. I mean, thank you, of course, you're going to take it, but at the same time, it's like, well, shit, what the fuck? What the fuck took y'all so long to prove my innocence? On September 11th, 2023, Behena announced that the office would not seek to retry Simmons and dismiss the case. On September 19th, once again, I'm reading right from here. This is all Wikipedia. You could look this up yourself. All Wikipedia. I ain't pulling this shit out my ass. On September 19th, 2023, Judge Palumbo granted a motion filed by Behena to dismiss the case. In October 2023, Simmons filed a motion seeking a declaration of innocence to then seek compensation from the state of Oklahoma. Rightfully so. Give me my fucking bread. Give me my fucking money. But here go the kicker. You ain't even hear the craziest part of this whole situation. You ain't hear the craziest part of my man's story yet. So he filed the motion saying that, he deserved compensation because y'all fucked up. That's what he's saying. He's like, yo, y'all fucked up. Like, I've been telling y'all I'm innocent. Y'all fucked up. Oklahoma County District Court Judge Amy Palumbo issued such a declaration on December 19th, 2023. So she okayed it, right? But here, that's not even the problem. That's not really why I'm upset right now and why I'm doing this video. That's not even what it is. We ain't even get there yet. Simmons' co-defendant, Don Roberts, was released on parole in 2008. That's the co-defendant that went to jail with Simmons. He was released way sooner. So he was released like 16 years earlier than my man's Glynn Simmons. I don't know the reasons why he was released much earlier, but he was released much earlier than my man Glynn Simmons. Glynn Simmons was only 22 years old when he went in jail for this shit. Just imagine that for a second. Like, imagine you don't even want to imagine some shit like that, to be real with you. All I know is this is further evidence of the shitty ass justice system that we have in place and the evil minds that are operating these cases and carrying these cases through. At least cases like this, I don't feel like in every case justice isn't served, but I feel like in a lot of cases, in certain cases, justice isn't served. Not only is it not served, but it's a slap in the face to the community, because these cases are wrongfully, it's the way it's carried out is just trash. You could tell like there are evil minds behind the way some of these cases are carried out, because it's like, how the fuck did y'all come to this conclusion? How the fuck were y'all able to sleep good at night knowing that a man who y'all took away his freedom is in jail basically for his whole life, and he ain't even do the crime, and y'all didn't even go through the case with a fine-tooth comb to make sure he ain't do the crime? I feel like that's unacceptable. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you feel like this is unacceptable or not. I feel this is unacceptable. When I see people doing crazy amounts of time like this and coming out of jail for something they ain't even do, and of course, the only thing there is for them to do is to have a smile on their face, right? But at the same time, you just basically strip this person of their life. You just strip this person of time that they could never get back. So we ain't even here go the part. Here, this is the problem with this whole situation right here. On August 13th, 2024, Simmons was awarded, On August 13th, 2024, Simmons was awarded $7 million. $7 million fucking dollars. $7 million fucking dollars. Yeah. Oh, y'all gotta be. Yo, nah. Yeah. I know that might sound like a lot of money, but it ain't a lot of fucking money. $7 million fucking dollars. Are y'all out your fucking minds? This is a slap in the face to my mans. This is a complete slap in the face to my mans. $7 million? Y'all slapping my mans in the face for wrongful conviction compensation? What the fuck? Bitch, I'm gonna need $1 million for every year I did in that motherfucker. He did 48 years, 50 years. It should be $48 million, $50 million at least. And I'm gonna need another fucking $50,000 for every motherfucker who looked at me crazy when I was in jail. I'm gonna need another $10,000 for every single nasty ass plate of food I ate in jail. Like, what? What are y'all talking about? Y'all gave my man $7 million for serving 48 fucking years in prison? Y'all gave my man $7 million for 48 years in prison. Now, granted, like, damn, like, my man's is 71 years old right now. He just came out. He's 71. He went in that motherfucker when he was 22. Are you out of your mind? Are they out of their mind? This is, to me, I mean, of course you're going to take the money, but to me, that's disrespect. That's absurd. What type of that ain't no justice system. That's not justice. $7 million. You could buy one mansion somewhere and spend the whole $7 million. You could fucking buy one mansion and spend the whole $7 million. I could think of things you could buy a jet. You could buy a fucking boat for $7 million. Damn, at least let my man get $1 million for every year he was in there. Lord knows what he had to deal with. Lord knows the trauma, the stress he had to deal with knowing that he in that bitch and he ain't even do that fucking crime. He didn't do the crime. Let me know. Drop a comment below. Do y'all think getting $7 million after serving 48 years in prison is worth it? Let me know. Drop a comment below. Am I bugging for feeling like that's absurd and that's a slap in the face and that's total disrespect to my mans? Drop a comment below. Let me know. I mean, shit, 300 to freedom. You know what we about. We all about freedom. So this is the complete opposite of freedom. This is basically, y'all got this man locked in a box for 50 years for something he ain't even do. And the reason why this judge threw out the case and issued the declaration is because she said that there was nowhere near enough evidence to pin this crime against this man. She said it. There was another article. I'm about to pull up the other article where she said it. She said it. I'm going to read this one real quick. I'm going to run through this shit real quick because y'all got to look. You look at the title. After 50 years, Oklahoma City will finally pay this black man millions. That's what it says. After 50 years. And honestly, the millions is a joke. 7 million is a joke, to be real with you. It says, there's not enough money in the world that can make amends for the 5 decades Glynn Ray Simmons spent in prison wrongfully convicted of murder. But Oklahoma City is trying to make it right by awarding him over $7 million. How the fuck you trying to make it right? All you doing is slapping me in the face. In 1975, Simmons was sent to death row for killing an Oklahoma City liquor store clerk named Carolyn Sue Rogers. According to AP News, Simmons insisted he was in a completely different state when the murder occurred, and mad people said that. Despite Simmons having an alibi, falsified witness testimony sent him to prison at the age of 22. Falsified witnesses. You see how wrong they carry out these cases? Two years after his initial conviction, Simmons' death sentence was reduced to life in prison. Reduced. And it wasn't until 2023. Hold on one second. I lost the fucking article. Hold on one second. Stay with me. It wasn't until 2023 that he would see the outside world again. 2023. They let my mans out. Yo, this is crazy. But yeah, yo, I had to share that, man. I had to share my man's story with y'all because I don't know, that situation really touched my heart. I was like, damn, you know, this is the problem with, you know, there go my man's right here. You know, just got out. This is the problem with the justice system. You know, a lot of times it ain't just. A lot of times it's fucked up. Simmons, he's now 71. Will receive the award of $7.15 million after filing a lawsuit against the city of Edmond, a suburb of Oklahoma City. I'm suing everybody. I'm suing every motherfucker who was against me in that courtroom. I'm suing the judge. I'm suing every jury member who went against me. I'm suing the prosecutors. I'm suing every motherfucker in that bitch. The person who pointed me out in the lineup. I'm suing everybody. If they still alive, I'm suing anybody who was involved in coming against me in that court. I'm suing every last one of them. The Edmond City Council voted on Monday to settle the lawsuit and issue the award, the Associated Press reports. I'm suing the police officer who came to arrest me. Shit. I'm suing the detectives. I'm suing the people who behind the scenes who deal with the evidence. I'm suing everybody in that motherfucker. A jury convicted Simmons in 1975 of killing Here we go again. That's the same thing I said. Simmons, meanwhile, maintained he was in Louisiana. He kept saying from the jump, I wasn't even in the state. He kept saying that. And they ain't believe him. So, my point is, look at my man's out of jail free. A free man. Even though it's like, yo, y'all let my man's come out at 71 years old. So let me just do the calculations real quick. Let me do the calculations, right? If he went to jail for 48 years, let's say he had a job and was making $100,000 a year. If he had a job and was making $100,000 a year times 48 equals 4.8 million. So they trying to justify it by that type of math. Like, if he was out of jail, how much would he have made out of jail if he was a free man for them 48 years? You don't know what the fuck that man would have became. You don't know what that man would have became. You don't know what his life was destined to become if y'all didn't wrongfully convict him. And I have a problem with this. I think this is pure evil right in our face. You know what I mean? But yeah. I just want to share this story with y'all. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. If any other crazy stories like this come out, I'll be sure to review it and talk about it. Drop a comment below if there are any other stories you want to talk, if you want me to talk about it. But yeah, like, this is just wrong, y'all. Like, this is wrong. Like, I felt away when I read this report. I felt away from my mans, you know? But that's all I got for y'all today. Drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about this situation. It's sad. It's tragic. It's disgusting. It's every negative word you could really think of. That's this right here. And then you give him $7 million. It's like, and I want to know. Drop a comment below. Let me know. Is the $7 million in a situation like this? Is the $7 million that this man is getting? Is it gonna be taxed, or he gets to get this money tax free? I really want to know, because if this shit gonna be taxed on top of that, look, man, that's some fucked up shit. That's grimy. But yeah, without any further ado, y'all, this is your boy Jon Belcher, aka Jadis Creek. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace. Love y'all.